Shalom, all praise to the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Wahawa Kakadash, double honors to the apostles of great milestone apostles Tahar, Gabar, Vakar, Aramlab, and Shalom to all the sincere Achim that are pushing this greater sincerity and truth in the four corners of the earth. Now, I was just looking at the news, and I've seen this pop up basically, and it says EU Asia leaders call for lifting sanctions on Iran. Now they see basically what's happening right now is the Mosai is stirring up the minds of the basically the leaders of this world, including Esau himself, to fight amongst each other, man. Basically, definitely against America because they see that now the economy is about to collapse, and all these things that America is doing is not helping anyone. It's only helping himself. Meanwhile, they've been there for America from day one. So, which this is actually good news for us because the sooner they start fighting, the sooner we're gonna get delivered. But this is Psalms 141, um, um, chapter 10. No, Psalms 141, verse 10. Let the wicked fall into their own nets, while as that I withal escape. You know. Let me start at verse 7. Our bones are scattered at the grave's mouth, as when one cutteth and cleaveth wood upon the earth. Alright? Now our bones are scattered upon at the grave's mouth, man. Meaning we're in a really low state, man. A lot of people are dead from the head down, man. You know, from the neck up. They dead from the neck up, man. They just going on autopilot, man. Going with whatever Esau told them. Even though this is the information age, they still don't know that they still can't believe that they're Israelites. They still want to be have a good position in Esau's kingdom, even though they stole and destroyed everything from us. They destroyed us and they stole everything from us. They still want to they still want to strive for a position under Esau, man, which is a slave mentality. Verse 9, verse 8. But mine eyes are unto thee, O power, the Lord. In thee is my trust. Leave not my soul destitute. Now, instead of putting their trust in Yahweh Bashem Yashai, they have their trust in Esau, man, you know, and his system. It's like there's this brother in the camp. He had this status, and and it said birds born in a cage think that flying is a disease, man. And that's exactly what these slave mentality is. They're not even Israelites, man. Negros, Latinos, Native Americans basically are in, man. They want to be in a comfortable situation and that's it. You know, they don't want to have vengeance upon their enemies, man. You know, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, according to Ecclesiastes 7:7, man. They don't have that, man. But the Most High has them like that for a reason. Keep me from the snare which they have laid for me, and the grins of the workers of iniquity. So they smile in your face, but they stab you in the back. We all know that, man. Verse 10. Let the wicked fall into their own nets, while that I withal escape. So basically, they think America think he's gonna basically get become great again through basically putting him and his allies in a bad position. Meanwhile, it's a snare, which is actually gonna backfire upon himself. So it says EU Asia leaders call for lifting sanctions on Iran. Participants in the Asia-Europe meeting (ASEM) have reaffirmed their collective support for a multilateral nuclear agreement Iran signed with major world powers in 2015, saying the lifting of sanctions against Iran is an essential part of the deal. In a joint statement issued at the end of their two-day meeting in Brussels on Friday, the European and Asian leaders reiterated their collective support for diplomatic dialogue and the Nuclear Agreement, officially known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action (JCPOA), which has been endorsed by the United Nations Security Council Resolution 2231. They emphasize that the JCPOA is working and delivering on its goal, namely to ensure the exclusively peaceful nature of Iran's nuclear program. Leaders recognize that alongside full and effective implementation by Iran of its nuclear-related commitments, the lifting of sanctions, including the consequences arising from it, constitutes an essential part of the JCPOA, and the statement read. It added that preserving the nuclear accord is a matter of respecting international agreements and promoting international security, peace, and stability. Right now, this is actually a scripture that a lot of people know, but if you're just new, you wouldn't really know about it. And sometimes you forget that everyone, not everyone knows all the scriptures. We've been in this for a couple of years, so we know about it, but not everyone knows about about all the scriptures. This is First Thessalonians 5:3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. All right, because what they do is they tell you that they're having peace talks. Meanwhile, they're actually threatening each other and basically preparing for war, man. That's why they have all these everyone is all these S-400 air missile defense systems are tossed around in India and Iran. Iran, I believe, has the S-400, and India has the S-200 or S-300. These are the things that are happening, man. Don't watch what they say, watch what they do. So and this is a devil that breaks covenants, man. So you can't trust him at all, man. This is Psalms 55:20. He had put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He had broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. So they ready to basically get into a fight, man. Which the Most High is gonna destroy this place beautifully, man, and set up the kingdom of Yahweh Shai, his son. Actually, his own kingdom, but his son, of course, is gonna, be the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. It added that preserving the nuclear accords is a matter of respecting international agreements. I already read that. The GCPOA had been signed between Iran and the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council: United States, Britain, France, Russia, and China, plus Germany in 2015. U.S. President Donald Trump announced in May that Washington was pulling out of the nuclear agreement, which lifted nuclear-related sanctions against Tehran in exchange for restrictions on Tehran's nuclear program. Which is actually just a gift, because basically they still look, man. These countries they don't really want war, but the Most High is gonna stir them up to basically just be ready for war, man. Because America's taking it too far, man. Destroying economies across the globe, man. And threatening people into basically submitting them unto them. You know, which is something that's happening frequently. But these nations are tired of it, man. U.S. President Donald Trump announced in May that Washington was pulling out of the nuclear agreement, which lifted nuclear-related sanctions against Tehran in exchange for restrictions on Tehran's nuclear program. The first round of American sanctions took effect in August, targeting Iran's access to the U.S. dollar, metals trading, coal, industrial software, and auto sector. The second round, forthcoming on November 4th, will be targeting Iran's energy sector and financial transactions. Speaking upon their arrival to the Asia-Europe meeting in Brussels, European Union Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini said on Thursday that the 28-nation bloc is working on the concrete establishment of its plan to set up financial channels to preserve business with Iran and circumvent new U.S. sanctions in place after the United States pulled out of 2015 nuclear deal in May. You see that? So look, man, even though they want to get out, they want to get out of this deal, and place sanctions, it's still gonna block. It's not gonna affect them that bad because there's 28 nations. Meanwhile, it's Western nations plus Eastern nations, man. So here you see the divide already, man. And let's get that as well because Daniel prophesied this a long time ago, just like our elders taught us these scriptures, man. It's clear as day when you have the elders that guide you in this truth, in this word, man. So it's a beautiful thing. Um, this is Daniel 2 and 42, 41. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, forasmuch as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay, and that's what's happening right now, man. Is they can't mix, man. They can't come together, man. To the speaking upon her arrival to the Asia Europe meeting in Brussels. Asia Europe shouldn't it be Europe America? Now it's Asia Europe, man. Shows you how far gone they are now, man. So they really, let me read the last part. This is something that we have presented during the United Nations General Assembly Ministerial Week in New York. The member states of the European Union have decided to put this system in place, so they are now working on the concrete establishment of this. I am confident that they will continue this work in a successful manner in the coming weeks, Mogherini said. Yeah, because she was against the sanctions on Iran. In a joint statement issued in September, remaining parties to the Iran nuclear deal promised to establish a special purpose vehicle to facilitate payments related to Iran's export as part of the efforts to salvage the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action after the U.S. withdrawal. Mindful of the urgency of the need for tangible results, the participants welcomed practical proposals to maintain and develop payment channels, notably the initiative to establish a special purpose vehicle to facilitate payments related to Iran's exports, including oil and imports, which will assist and measure and reassure economic operators pursuing legitimate business with Iran, the statement said. So basically, they're gonna circumvent the whole thing for Iran's sake at the cost of America, man. This is beautiful, man. And I'm gonna read the scripture. This is Second Ezra 6 and 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder the time of the times? Or when shall be the end of the verse and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right. So that's basically what I wanted to say, man. And slowly but surely, look, man. Don't think that these apostles are elders and apostles are just normal, regular men, man. They're just vessels that look regular, but their spirit is completely different, man. You know. So you need to honor these men that gave you this truth, man. That basically put you upon the watchtower to teach you how to see things, man. When you have the scriptures that the guy to basically follow and the elders to guide you, you'll be a very wise man in your life, man. Dealing with women, dealing with friends, dealing with children, dealing with your parents, dealing with unbelieving people that want to come against you. All these things, man. You know exactly how to basically conduct yourself in any situation. You know. So with that, I'm gonna say all praises. Wait, let me read one last verse. All right, this is Obadiah, man, because Obadiah also spoke about basically their allies leaving him. All right, so this is Obadiah chapter 1, verse 18. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. Stubble is something that you burn up. Let me look it up real quick. All right. God, so basically, actually, it is something that. Let me see. Let me see if I should write it down like this. The cut stock, the cut stalks of cereal plants left sticking out of the ground after the grain is harvested. Short, stiff hairs growing on a man's face. Yeah, but it's basically something that can be burnt, you know. So that's what they did, man. You grab things, basically plants that you don't need for food or things like that, consummation, and you basically use that to burn, you know, because it's something that you can use when it's dry, especially, All the men of the Confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee, men that were at peace with thee, have deceived thee. Verse 7, right? Have prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. And that's what the EU and the Asians did, man. They put a how do you say that? A wound under you, man. This is verse 18 again. Now with understanding, and the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord has spoken it. All right. So no Edomites are going to be in the kingdom of heaven, Yahweh, after the 1,000 years of slavery, of course. But with that, I'm going to say all praises go to the Most High, Yahweh, Bashem, Yashai, Wakakodash, and Shalom. Double honors to the apostles of great millstone. Shalom.